Good afternoon, Justice Warriors. I am doing a Cliff Notes version of yesterday's video. So today is Monday, March 20th. It's just about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I'm doing my Cliff Notes of the video that I made Sunday morning. And man, a lot of people have been watching that video, and the last couple of videos have been getting very, very well circulated. So thank you. I'm excited that people are interested in what I have to say because I feel like I have a lot to say about this case, this Idaho 4. Everything that I say is simply my opinion. It is simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and hoping to learn something. I hope I shoot and aim for my videos being educational. My videos are all made for YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. So please hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and here we go. The video that I made yesterday, I had to clarify about a company owned by Corporal Brett Payne. So since he was about 17 or 18 years old, he's owned a company called South Hill Meats and Locker Company in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. It's about 30 minutes south of the Canadian border, just looks like about 15 or 20 minutes from Montana, and probably over an hour going the other direction to get into Washington State. So I spoke to the fact that of all of the fake profiles that people were making on the interweb for the criminal defendant, that Papa Roger looked like the only one that might have been legitimately Koberger's. I don't think it was. I think that Papa Roger is also a fake profile made by somebody who knows some extremely intricate details of the case that only the unaliver would probably know. So I think that that's pretty wild that somebody is making that crap for YouTube, for the internet, for people to watch. It's a big psyops. I like to say psych ops just because psyops, I don't know, it just doesn't have quite the ring to it that I think it should. Um, so the time frame of when this quadruple homicide is nailed down is about 4 a.m. on Sunday, November 13th. And I'm wondering if things could have happened before that. 4 a.m. is used as the time of the DoorDash delivery. Personally, I don't think a DoorDash delivery validates that anybody was still of this earth. I also don't think being on TikTok does that either because anybody can be on anybody else's device and get into their account. Um, and Kaylee and Maddie had been power calling Jack D, right? And they stopped, I think, at 2:56. So did they just pass out? I mean, it seems not in their character to stop making calls for that last hour and 20 minutes that they were still breathing, allegedly. So, that doorbell cam that was circulating a while ago, a couple months ago, I always figured it was fake, and then it was revealed from source that it was fake. Um, and now I'm wondering if it might not be fake. I feel like there's some of these things in this case that get shot down that maybe shouldn't be shot down. Um, And I'm absolutely convinced that Brent Lee Kopaka has ties into this case at this point in time. I'm absolutely convinced. I'm not convinced of much else in this case, honestly. Um, I'm 100% convinced that I cannot trust the Moscow PD. Let me plug in. I was plugged in and then I unplugged. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Um, and what else? It's unfortunate to not be able to trust law enforcement, but think about somebody like the 18-year-old that was a student at Pullman who was essayed by a Pullman police officer while he was on duty, and maybe more than just the one person. There could have been others involved with that. But that 18-year-old victim, do you think she'll ever be able to call 911? Anything that happens in her life? I'd say it's highly doubtful. And, there's a lot of people who fall into that category that feel like calling 911 could very well make the situation a lot worse, which is just so unfortunate to not be able to utilize our resources, our first responsive resources. And the use of excessive force is very frowned upon. I can speak, really, I can. The use of excessive force is a bad look from the public eye and internally. Law enforcement does not like to see law enforcement use excessive force. It makes everybody look bad. Law enforcement are experts in de-escalation. That's what they do. That's what they train for. And, if somebody's resisting or there's failure to comply, that's what I'm trying to say. Um, any of those things, we need to trust that our officers are going to utilize the lowest force necessary to get the job done. That's what they strive for. That's what they aim for. And I know from my own work history, I worked as a court employee in the King County Superior Court system many years ago, and that long arm of the law, that's not just a cliche. Um, I also wanted to mention that Julie Fry, who's married to James Fry, she was elected to be the county clerk 5 days before this terrible, tragic unaliving of 4 people. Um, there is a wolf sanctuary that I spoke about it's called Wolf Haven in Tenino, Washington. And with this whole issue of wolves in Idaho, and wolves are an endangered species and they're federally protected, but some states like Idaho have a loophole for that because the wolves kill their livestock. So it would be nice if those wolves could be captured and released, right? It seems reasonable. It seems like something the Department of Fish and Wildlife would be interested in helping with. Um, at the end of my video, one of my viewers who goes by the handle GC made this amazing quote. They said, I don't believe that Inan is not involved. So they were speaking of Inan Harsh, which I've never thought that he had any involvement, but I know some people have been suspicious of him. And I just thought that quote was super cute. I don't think Inan is not involved. I say Inan, other people say Inan. Anyway, the last thing I wanted to mention is I spoke about a book, an old book from the 80s and 90s, I think it was early 90s, called Women Who Run with the Wolves, that became extremely popular. It was a collection of short stories. And the only one that I can remember is called Doll in Her Pocket, and it's a very, very cool story. I used that book in facilitating group therapy with women, and people really liked it. So that story reminds me of the Suzanne Vega song, Rock in This Pocket. I had misquoted it. I couldn't remember. It had been so long, so I looked it up. It's also called The Song of David. If you're not familiar, check it out. Suzanne Vega is one of those incredibly talented artists that is just really inspiring. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and can get all of the rest that you need, can be very productive, can get your exercise and stay hydrated. Eat well, high protein, high produce, and most of that should be vegetables. Like your grandmother said, eat your vegetables. But it's kind of like health magic. If you eat your vegetables, you'll do well. So just breathe, eat, pray, love, and be kind to yourself, be kind to other people, be respectful, and it's important to have self-respect. You can't show anybody respect if you don't have self-respect. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. I like to preach a little Isadi for that. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks again.